Bangladesh's political upheaval, Sheikh Hasina's departure and its aftermath. In a dramatic turn of events, Bangladesh's political landscape shifted significantly today. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina resigned and fled the country amid escalating student protests that had turned deadly. Demonstrators had stormed the Prime Minister's official residence in Dhaka earlier, and soon after, the head of the army appealed for an end to the violence and proposed forming a temporary new government with opposition political parties. Here's a detailed look at the unfolding situation, resignation, and immediate aftermath. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's resignation follows weeks of intense protests, resulting in hundreds of casualties. Her departure comes on the heels of a violent clash that left over 90 people dead. The army has promised to establish an interim government to address the demands of the protesters and restore peace. Thousands defied a nationwide curfew to storm Hasina's official residence, declaring the end of what they called an autocracy, student protests and demands. The recent student-led protests were triggered by the reinstatement of an unpopular quota system, originally intended to benefit freedom fighters and their families. The protests, which turned violent, demanded democratic reforms and an end to alleged corruption and authoritarian practices. The students and their supporters are now hopeful for a new era of governance and reforms, military's role, and public trust. While the army has stepped in to ensure a peaceful transition, there is skepticism about its intentions. Student activist Propi Taposhi expressed concern over the military's role, questioning whether it would truly protect minority communities and ensure a fair interim government. Many protesters fear a return to military rule and are pushing for a civilian-led interim government. Expert analysis. Nusrat Chowdhury, associate professor of anthropology at Amherst College, highlighted that while today's events were not entirely unexpected, given the unstable political climate, the speed of the change was surprising. She pointed out that the military's involvement should not be mistaken for a coup, but rather seen as part of a complex transition that must address the demands of the people and ensure a genuine democratic process. Conclusion. The resignation of Sheikh Hasina marks a significant moment in Bangladesh's political history. While it signals the end of a long-standing regime, the country faces the challenge of navigating a transition that satisfies the demands for democratic reform and stability. The involvement of student activists and the broader public will likely continue to play a pivotal role in shaping the nation's future.